This is an example of an XLOOKUP, which is similar to the V and H lookups. It is newer and is considered to be a little bit more flexible and maybe easier to use than the previous lookups. In this case, we are looking at phone sales, and for each phone version, there is an associated cost. So we will look up the phone version here and find it in the table. So for each of these phone versions, we'll look it up in the table and find or return the associated cost in column C. All right, so let's use the dialog box. And if you know the syntax, you can obviously type that. So the dialog box will show you more of what you'll need to enter. The lookup value is here. So the phone version we want to look up in this first column. So that's going to be B12. Where are we going to look that value up? So where will we find the lookup value? So we're going to find it here in the first column of this table, which we want to make absolute since we are going to copy this down. Notice that both cell references in the range need to be absolute. The return array is where will we find the associated value that we want to return or display in column C. In that case, it's the cost of the phone version, and again, absolute, because we will copy this formula down. If not found, you can leave that blank, or you can enter something like error, and the match mode may not require that, depending on which mode you use. So for the match mode, this is similar to the range lookup in the V and H lookup functions. It can be either 0, which represents an exact match. That's the default value if you do not type anything in. A 1 is an exact match, or if it can't find that, it will find the next larger value, whereas a -1, if it can't find an exact match, it will find the next smaller value. A 2 is a wildcard match. So in this case, let's enter a match mode of 1, where it will find the next larger value. So let's say, for example, this begins at 7 here. So let's enter a 6 right here and see if it will give us the correct value, which would be 1,000, given that it's going to find the next largest number. Now, if we enter a 12, which is not in that lookup array, it's going to give us an error because we use the next largest value instead of the next smallest value. But if we go into our function and enter a -1, it will not find the 6 since we're finding the next smallest value, but it will find the 12, which is 1600, the next smaller value being the version 10. So the difference in the VLOOKUP and the XLOOKUP is that you break down the lookup and return array in the XLOOKUP, whereas in the V and H lookups, that's considered to be one table array. The V and H lookups don't really have an option for error unless you build it into the table. And the match mode replaces the range lookup, since you can find the exact match or a closer match within the match mode and do that at one time.